Okay, so good afternoon guys, good evening guys. How are you guys doing? He was good, full of sugar. How are you liking RoyCon till now? He's the only guy. Okay, so a little about me. I work in a company called Reserve.me. It's an ad network. I work as a developer advocate. I'm also the co-organizer of this group called the Bangalore Android User Group. How many of you know what the Bangalore Android User Group is? For those of you who don't know, you probably register. This is the largest Android group outside the US, and we are currently at 2,400 plus members. We have a registration there. I think it's closed for the day. We come back tomorrow. Also during RoyCon, they give out free t-shirts for registration. Right? I'm also an evangelist for mobile. I love mobile. This is why I'm still carrying my Nexus and a Nokia phone. I don't like it that much, but it's still a nice piece to have it. Because of which I'm also a community buff. I take part in a lot of things, a lot of events. There's RoyCon, this is my third RoyCon. Participated in RoyCon last year. Participated in RoyCon Tunisia. We'll be going to RoyCon Amsterdam and Spain this year. And then there's Startup Weekend. It's also a nice thing, 2.5 days. I wouldn't call it a hackathon. It's a nice thing, but it's a nice thing to go if you're trying to do a startup or anything like that. Then there's GDG, Stack Overflow, Mobile Monday, anything to do with technology, communities, and startups. I kind of love going to those events. Next, coming to why we developers develop, right? Some of us do it for the fame, some of us do it for the money, some of us do it just because we love to do it, right? But at the end of the day, I think money, fame, will take off. And passion will take off lives with most of the limits, right? And speak off, of course. But this is what we mostly do it for, right? So fame and passion is literally hard to do, but money, you can earn money, right? It's slightly more simpler than trying to earn fame. So how do developers on the mobile go on earning money, right? What are the different kind of mechanisms? You can charge the users directly, right? You can sell your app, it's one way to earn money, right? You can directly sell the app, or you can sell virtual goods within the app and anything like that with in-app payments, right? And then you can sell your apps to users via deals through the OEM, right? For example, let's say you develop a keyboard app, right? It's hard to sell keyboard apps on the App Store, right? But a few are there. The simpler version is you go tell a manufacturer, here's my app, you put it on your phone, give me 50 cents for every phone you manufacture, right? That's one business model per se, right? You can also sell via content providers. Content providers basically are app publishers which have a billing pipeline. Now, if you can't get hold of a billing pipeline, like till recently, we did not sell Google apps, Android apps to get, right? So one way to do that was you would have gone to content providers who have billing pipelines with operators. You would have sold it through them, right? And the fourth one is ad-based monetization. Pretty simple to do. You give out your app for free, you put in ads. For every time somebody clicks on an ad, you earn money, right? So, in this talk, we'll be discussing about why you should use ad-based monetization, what is ad-based monetization, how to do it, right? And then I'll try to give a few secrets or tips if you may call it. Right? So, why monetization, guys? Now, this is a map of the GDP in the world of various countries and the growth of various countries are having. Now, the entire red area that you see are areas with low GDPs. Basically, the income of people there is pretty low. And that's a massive area, right? You have India and China there, which cover, how much is it? 1/3 of the mobile population on the earth, right? Now, if you're going to go to those places, now, somehow there's kind of bottom phone, right? Android phones are cheaper. 5,000 rupees you can get it from here. But if you go tell a dude, why don't you buy my app for $400? He's going to think multiple times about it, right? So, if you want to, one of the reasons you want to use ads is to earn globally. You don't want the mechanism of asking somebody for money to use your app to actually block your market. If you give it out for free, you reach the global market. Anybody who has a phone to the market can download it, right? You're not limiting yourself there. The second is the mobile penetration in most of these emerging countries, right, is actually higher than the bank accounts or credit cards, right? Okay, sorry, there's a typo in this one. So this is an India-specific graph, right? So in India, we have around 334 million mobile phone subscribers, right? 27 million is not bank accounts, sorry. It's 27 million is approximate smartphone users in India. Right? And the number of credit card users in India is 18 million. So if you're going to release an app, let's say in India, and you're going to say, I'm just going to release a paid app, you're already losing a market share, right? 27.6. Now, the other thing to note is the growth of the smartphone is much faster than the growth of your banking or credit card. Smartphone is growing, God knows how fast it's growing, right? You can't keep track of it. But if you see, comfortably you can say it's doubling every year, or quadrupling every year. Bank accounts and credit cards are not going to do that, right? So if you're going to keep only a paid app, you're going to keep losing a bigger share of your market, right? So that's another reason why you should not have only a paid app. So like basically have a free app, right? And then especially on Android, there's this free culture. When you search for an app, do you search for a paid app or do you search for a free app? Right? That's the culture has become, right? That's what Android has become. And we are all developers, we are nerds. And as soon as we see a paid app, what do? I'm going to develop and give it out for free. That's what many of us do, right? Even I can do this, right? And I can give it out for free, it's not that complicated. So on both ends, there is this culture clash, right? So again, if you're going to do only free, you're going to either lose out on your market, or somebody is going to build another app and give it out for free, right? Again, another reason why just not keep yourself limited to the closed box of paid apps. Now, what are mobile ad networks? Anybody worked with mobile ad networks before here? Okay, I'm preaching to the right audience, leaving you guys. So, this section, at least you guys will know almost everything about it. Right? Basically, what mobile ad networks are, mobile ad networks connect brand and app developers. Okay? Brands want to reach the consumers. Let's say Ford or Hyundai or somebody came up with something new, right? They want to tell the consumers about it. Here's a new car, here's a new biscuit, here's a new spray, engines will fall. Right? So that's what brands want to do. They want to engage the consumers, they want the consumers to know that there's something new, you need to go buy it right now. Right? On the other hand, app developers have the other problem. They're giving out something new and they want to earn money from it. Right? So you have somebody here who's willing to pay money to give something out, and here you have somebody who's given something out, has some space on it, and needs money, right? So basically, the ad network connects these two people. It's an end-to-end relationship, right? So basically, brands, advertising agencies will create ads, and the ad network will take those ads and supply to the application developers. And application developers will give space in their applications for ads. So every time the user clicks, the brand knows that the user has engaged with them, or is going to engage with them after clicking it, and the developer is going to earn some money through it. Right? This is the simplest what an ad network is. At the simplest level. Right? And there are a lot of metrics. How many of you know what an impression is? Here again, I'm in the right place. So basically, impressions. What's an ad? So these are the things. So first of all, let's say you're a developer. You create an ad, right? Now let's say you have a banner or a billboard or anything. You need to request for an ad, right? That process of actually requesting or sending a request to the server saying that give me an ad is an ad request, right? And when the server returns you an advertisement, that's an ad served, right? So you request an ad and you get served an ad, right? But the interesting thing to note is we know mobile networks are not always going to be there. If you enter a train or a terminal or anything like that, you're going to lose connectivity. So it's always possible that the number of ads you request is going to be higher than the number of ads you serve. Let's say we come up with fill rate, right? It's basically the percentage of those two things. So it's always good to have a high fill rate, because if you're not having a high fill rate, it's like saying, I had an opportunity to show an ad, but I could not show it. So the user could not click it, so I could not earn money. Right? And then another jargon is CPC, CPM, CPA, CPD, basically cost per something. Right? CPC, in CPC, cost per click. So every time a user clicks on the ad, revenue is generated, which share with the ad network and the developer, right? CPM is just cost per milli. Milli is basically 1,000. So in this model of advertising, for every 1,000 ads that are displayed, revenue is generated, right? CPC, you have to click, the user has to click for revenue to be generated. CPM, you just need to show the ad. Right? We have CPA, which can be cost per acquisition. Right? So whenever, let's let's say you have a form or something like that and you want to acquire a user, right? When the entire process of acquiring happens, that's when a CPA happens, right? Similarly, the CPD, which is cost per download. Let's say you build an ad, you want to market it, right? You go to an ad network and say, here's my ad, right? Here's the ad, display it, and for every download you get me, I'm going to pay you X, right? That's a CPD campaign, right? Any questions still here? Right? And there are various other stuff, things just keep coming up, right? There's CPI also, which is cost per install and whatnot. But these are the main models, right? Most ad networks sort of run with the CPC model. But if you're looking to market your ad, you will probably go with the CPD, right? And then two other terms are ECPM and mediation. Right? ECPM stands for effective cost per million, right? In the simplest way to think of it is how well your ads are performing, how well the ad network is performing. So basically, let's say an ad network CPM is $5 or X dollars, right? That's the ad network saying for every 1,000 times you're showing an ad, I'm going to give you $5 or X dollars, right? So cost per 1,000, effective cost per 1,000, right? Now the reason ECPM is sort of needed is we have so many ways of doing campaigns, right? We have CPC, CPD, and whatnot, right? But giving, at the end of the day, you're not worried about how you're generating the money. You're just worried about actually getting the money, right? That's why at the developer end, the term ECPM is used, right? And then there is mediation, right? So one way to do that is you write your own ad request, go to one particular ad network and get a request, right? But that's a cumbersome way. What if tomorrow you wanted to change your ad network or you wanted to use multiple ad networks? So mediation is basically the process of using multiple ad networks, right? So either you use a library or build your own package or something like that, where you request to the mediation library or black box, let's say, right? You request an ad, and that black box per se gets an ad from multiple ad networks. It's going to get you based on, there can be various factors. You can say first, try to get an ad from ad network X, then try to get an ad from Y, in that order. Or you can say, first get me the ad which is giving the highest CPM, right? Or in some cases, it's possible that an ad network does not have an ad to give you. It can be because they don't have an ad for that phone model, they don't have an ad for the geography, for the users, whatnot. But due to various reasons, they might not be able to give you an ad. Right? At that point, you're going to say, okay, you don't have an ad, I'm going to get it from somebody else. But the entire process, the reason you do mediation is you want to keep your fill rate high. If you are not showing an ad every time you want to show an ad, you're basically losing an opportunity to earn money. Right? And here, so everybody asks, how much do I earn using an ad network? Right? And they come to me and ask, or they ask other people, how many downloads do I need to make this much money and blah 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 blah. Okay? So basically what you need to understand is how much you earn is dependent on two factors. How many downloads you have, right? And the ECPM, the ad network sort of space. From the downloads you have, or the analytics you have, you can get the number of sessions you're doing per day. Let's say you have 1 million downloads, right? Not everybody is active on it. Let's say drop off to 50%. So you have 500,000 people using it, right? Let's say you have everybody uses it once. So you have 500,000 sessions per day, right? So, and let's say the ad network you're working with has an ECPM of $5, right? So you take 500,000 divided by 1,000 and multiply it by ECPM. That's roughly how much the amount of money you want to generate per day, right? You can do it per month or per week, anything like that. This is an approximate distance. This is not a formula written in stone. This is written by me yesterday at AM. Right? And then, there are types of, what are the different types of ads? What's the most common ad you have seen? Yeah, there's text or banner. Basically, the small ads, right? If you played Angry Birds, on the top right, there's an ad. There will always be an app where you're supposed to click on a button, all of a sudden the button becomes an ad, right? That's a bad developer. Right? But there are different types of ads are basically a banner ad, right? Banner ads are small ads, mostly rectangular, right? They have a specifications, right? They have industry standards to it. And then they have billboard ads, right? Or we call it billboard, we as in we serve. But basically they are full screen ads, right? Which you can use at launch, exit or somewhere in between. Okay? When you use an full screen ad in between, it's called an interstitial ad, right? Let's say you're doing something and then after you finish it or something like that, and you get an ad and then you can go back to whatever you're doing. That's an interstitial ad. Then there are video ads. Now, both banner ads and billboard ads They show static images, usually static images, where you need to click to do something, right? It can be click to do a video, click to show a website or anything like that, right? But basically, the user needs to click to engage with it. Video ads are slightly different. Video ads the videos will automatically start playing, right? Like YouTube ads, right? And then you have push and icon ads, notification bar and home screen. Again, how well you want to use it, I'm not going to comment on it. But these can be limited by the operating system or the platform. So it's a little tricky there. And there are other type of ads. There are various other ad formats that just keep popping up. There are startups that bring up their own ad format, whatnot. You have offers, you have placements. Basically, let's say you have a brand, how they do in movies, right? If your star is taking a bath, you take bath with a Dove shampoo. That's a Dove placement per se. And then there's sponsorship. Basically, let's say you build an ad, a brand will come and say, only I'm going to show an ad on your app for the next 1 month. I'm going to basically sponsor your app for now. Those are sponsorship kind of ads. And then you have other ads. You have app walls, basically they show you a bunch of applications and you get paid for every download. And they keep coming up. There will be various type of ad formats that come up, but these are the more popular ones. Right? So, we now learn why we use ad networks, how we use ad networks. So now we are going to talk about 2 secrets per se of how to make sure you're making the best out of your, generating the best revenue you can. One thing is use a hybrid model. Traditionally, we have gotten used to developing a free app and developing a paid app. But if you go see the number of downloads the 2 apps relatively have, it's a massive difference, right? There's really a drop off of, it's 10 to 1. 1 to 10, like, for 500,000 free downloads, we have like 5,000 paid downloads. In many cases, what happens is, the user would have tried the free app, but then either he would have forgotten about it, or the process of removing it, then going to the app store, downloading the paid app, is troublesome, so he's not going to do it. It's basically friction to move, right? You don't want you don't want that to happen. You don't want to lose a user to friction, right? On the desktop, you always say the minimum number of clicks. You don't want the user to click 10 times for anything, right? So one way to do that is combine the free and paid app model. Build a single app, right, which will initially show ads, right? And then you can say, okay, to remove ads, do an in-app payment or something like that, and I'm going to remove your ads. So in that way, you don't have any friction, right? The other advantage of this is, let's say you built an app which is showing ads, and then you're saying you're going to run a subscription model. You're going to tell the user for every month you pay me $1, I'm not going to show an ad. If you have something like that, once the subscription gets over, right, many users just stop using the application. Here, that does not happen, right? You can always kick the ads back in, and the user can continue using it. You don't want a situation where the user will say, okay, no, I don't feel like using it. Anything like that. And then use rich ads. You don't want the boring text ads, right? And always place your ads correctly. If you have a super engaging game, don't place an ad with the engaging game. The brain will as well ignore the ad. And then you're like, I have millions of downloads per another month. I'm not generating enough. Right? So, and you can even combine them. So when you look at a magazine, the most beautiful place of the magazine is the front and the back, right? The covers, right? Unless they give you a poster in between. But those are the most, same thing works in an app. The most impactful area of an app is the launch and the exit, right? Now if you put the best way you can earn revenue is put a rich ad at the launch and the exit, right? Using that way, since it's a high impact ad, you don't need to put ads in between. That means more space for your ad on the screen. You don't have to put a banner ad or anything like that, right? And then use mediation. In fact, use hybrid mediation, right? So mediation you can do multiple ways. You can write your own library, write somebody else's library, or use third-party mediation network. Right? Even in that, you can have a third-party mediation library on the phone or on the cloud. Right? You ideally want to use a cloud-based mediation this thing, because you don't want to change. Let's say you decided to use some other ad network which requires you to change the source code of the mediation library. You don't want to run an app update to change your mediation library, right? So the advantage of having it in the cloud is, anytime at the back end, you can go and change your setting, play around with it, do an A/B test or whatever, and figure out what you need. Also, on the server side mediation, the other advantages are, you can run your own ads using your own sales team, if you can do that, right? You can choose networks in the back end, right? And then you can aggregate long-tail developers. So there are big ad networks, right? But there are very small ad networks which do very well geography-wise, right? Not every ad network works best around the world. So you need to pick and choose. Right? And also you can do house ads. House ads are basically doing your own ads, let's say for your other apps. You make an app A, right? That's become popular. Now you make an app B, right? The best way to popularize B is telling all the users, okay, look, I made another app B. Right? So that's basically an house ad when you show an ad for B in A. Right? Any questions here? Right? The fourth one is operator billing. Initially when we were talking about why is ad network, we had friction, user friction in terms of the user might not have a credit card, right? Or in some cases there might not be payment mechanisms available in some countries. Although that for Android that number is reduced significantly. But even like let's say you have a credit card, right? So at the first time the user will have Android credit card. He might say, okay, I don't feel safe, right? That's one of the biggest reasons pay on cash on delivery works, right? In some cases you're not safe to give it, you don't feel like giving a credit card. Cash on delivery works, right? It's almost a similar way. Basically, what you want to do is partner with telcos, right, or operators. What happens with that is basically, let's say the user wants to pay, when he clicks on buy or pay or anything like that, the payment is deducted in his bill. In prepaid, it can be his prepaid balance. In postpaid, the amount will come in his bill. But basically what happens is, he does not need to register anything. Right? The operator already knows everything about it. It's basically a one-click mechanism. And it's the simplest way to do it. Right? And it's slightly evil, but we all do it. The advantage of making stuff simpler is impulse buying increases. Right? I got Windows 8 yesterday. It was an impulse buy. Right? Whether I like it in the future or not, I don't know. But I'm liking it now. But we all buy stuff most of the time in an impulse, right? You don't want to make addition to that impulse. If your product might be good, but there's hesitation, the user is not going to buy it. So you want to reduce the friction. Right? And then distribution. We all know location. Then distribution. The best way to ensure that you're generating the most amount of money is make sure you have the most number of downloads. How to do it? Partner with all the app stores. Get your app on GetJar, get your app on Mobango, all the operators, whatnot. So wherever the user searches for your application, he will get it. Right? Yes, there is a lot of work for you involved, but then it's for your good, right? It's not that, and the ratio of the work done to revenue generated is going to be really larger. Like GetJar is a massive app store, right? Partner with OEMs, depending on your product, it might be profitable for you to partner with OEMs to get your app with the phone itself, because users will see the app there itself. Again, the friction of going to the app store, installing it is gone. And then market your app, right? Marketing can be word of mouth, emailing, whatnot, but also run campaigns on ad networks, basically. So what happens is, when somebody's on the mobile, that's your target audience, right? Somebody who has a mobile phone, he's looking at an app. If you can show an ad of your application, he's more likely to use it, right? Or click on it. Because he's the right target. So again, there you can run a CPC sort of model, where you're going to say, okay, for every click. But it's ideal to run CPD sort of models, where you're going to pay the ad network for every download that you generate. Right? And that's about it. 25 minutes on the dot. Any questions? Yes, sir.
There was a slide in the beginning where you talked about users, bank accounts.
Yes.
Can you just clarify about that? Because the typo, I guess.
Yes, the bank account part is actually smartphone users, approximate smartphone users.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know how
that's in India.
Yes, this is India based.
And both iPhone as well as Android.
Yes, that's smartphones. Now, approximately in the 27 million, right? Android has 50% market share, right? And the numbers given out by IDC just recently of the iPhones sold legally in India are a mere 1 lakh. 100,000 iPhones sold legally. But you get the market share, right? If you're developing an app in India, that's your market share.
And do you have the number of mobile internet users on smartphone? Mobile internet users on smartphone.
If I remember correctly, it is 150 million. If I remember correctly. I have the number somewhere, but I don't have it anymore.
Like 1,000 or 15 million.
This is a smart that is the very first thing that we are told. So we have this product called the App, which actually does that. It will certain apps will launch and exit. The thing is, what we have seen, the numbers, we have a 10% click-through rate. Where industry average click-through rate is 1-2%. We have an average rate of 10%. The numbers actually say users more often click on the ad. And that's still within the ad. You can anytime go and click the ad. And it's so when I said Angel's call, right, ads were campaign with us. The click-through rate for that was 28%. So it's ideal, right? So what that says is the users are going to engage, you're going to get more money. But also for the other advantage it gives you, you don't need to show ads everything. Right? You don't need to have banners anywhere else. Because this is generating enough money here. Unless you need more money. Yes. The banners and the text. So, a simple way to say that the more richer the ad is, the more money you make. But it's easy when you want to get more, you get more dollars. Now think of an ad that says, I-20, 2012, just text. Right? And then there's an ad with color, images, whatnot. That's a more engaging model. Right? And it also gives users enough information that they can invest in the ad. The more generally, it's more richer, better.
Then, you said the video aspect. How does it work? Does the user has to completely see the video for him to get money, or is it at the moment it is downloaded and just started, then you get money?
It depends on ad network to ad network. So there are rumors recently that on YouTube, Google is saying some publishers that they have to view the complete video. But it depends on ad network or ad network. That being said, video ads are still not that popular in India. Just because the infrastructure is a little bit right now, it's improving, but it's on the up. Sorry? Yeah, there's reserve and reserve and reserve. No, so there's reserve, there's AdMob, there's iMovie, they're very smaller. There's Smarto, mostly mediating thing. I know, but there are a bunch of companies. In fact, and it depends on location, right? Like, Interactive, AdMob and all are very strong in the US. Reserve are very strong in Southeast Asia and Middle Eastern countries. I'm sorry? I think what was that? Everything there is probably correct. Get it.
You mentioned the model slides. So I'm basically presenting from
Sorry?
Digivai. So I'm presenting Digivai there, and we already have my application on 4 of the apps in every Android. And we work very closely with these are also on the mobile advertising. So, you mentioned in one of the slides that in order to increase monetization, you should look at ranking competitive areas.
Yes.
All the current existing ecosystems, we talk about Nokia, we talk about Android, and recently Apple also opened their iAndroid just a week back.
Yeah.
So, if I talk specifically of Nokia, where the trend is more visible, they are now themselves trying to mobile operators to provide you that operator so that you directly not need to go ahead and overcome. So, do you see this trend increasing and all the app stores, following Nokia only? Because Nokia only already tried to create a more and more as of now. Don't know anything coming from Android or any other app store. But do you think other app stores are also following this, considering the reluctance of users to use the credit card or mobile?
That will happen. It's happening here also in India and in the US. Every sign up with Google Play Store. Even like we have tied up with Vodafone and Nokia. Vodafone is sign up. In fact, the one sort of negative is operator billing, depending on operators. Many operators will run on the legacy sharing network revenue share, which is they take 70 and they give it 30. Vodafone sort of came on, turned over the air and Vodafone said, we'll give away 70. So Vodafone partnerships have started. Like even we are partnered with Vodafone to run their V store.
In fact, on the revenue share part, if you look at Nokia only, they are offering the same revenue share which they offer on major disadvantages of, integrating operator into Nokia OP is the payment cycle, which is like you mentioned that it's a 6-month cycle. So, which is can expect up to 6 months to get your payment back. So, but I'm more curious on the Android part because our application today runs largely on the Android marketplace. So, and I'm not sure whether Android is actually reaching operators to create the operator because almost like 80-90% of the traffic is skewed towards the apps on the Android marketplace, which is basically actually reversed for an iOS. So there is more concentration on the apps. So do you have any data on the Android type of the operators in the future?
I wouldn't have data on that. Right now, all I can tell you is we as a company, we've tied up with Vodafone. We are in talks with Airtel, but it will take time because many of them are still running on legacy models. That being said, we as a company, we have a solution called the app, and we have the flexibility to bring us a billing pipeline, we can run it through that.
In terms of on the first slide, you mentioned some of the monetization types, monetization models on the landscape. Ad is one of them. So, do you think once this operator billing is in place for most of the app stores, will it kind of cannibalize the revenue a developer can expect from Apple?
It's hard to say, but I think it depends platform to platform. Like Android, as we said, the culture has become towards free apps, right? And Android, those devices are selling for 5,000 rupees, 4,000 rupees, right? So people can buy, somehow work and get buy the phone, but they're still not going to pay 50 rupees or 100 rupees or multiples of that, right? So it depends on the platform. Android is going to significantly remain free. Because it's just, the culture has been set. Android, the culture, iOS, the culture started by 0.98. Okay. So the mindset has been set, is other thing. Also, your user base is the one on iOS, they can afford their phone, they can pay. On Android, it's filling up a medium to a low market. People are not that willing to pay. How many of us have bought more than 10x? Either we don't know what display or not. But I'm on the feeling I have bought 100 in some apps. But very few even Indians do that. In my family, nobody bought an app. Interstitial. Yes. The one thing is, the bigger the ad becomes, right? The bigger the engagement becomes. And our networks are not going as fast as technology is evolving. So, slightly slower. That's why there's an issue. That's one way. So, on the app platform, we allow you to catch the exit ad. Yeah? But everybody has SDK in APIs. You can actually code it such that you first get it before showing the ad and then show it when you want. So in that case, I think you can use the SDK, get the ad before the exit. At the launch, in the background, get the ad. Or like in our case, our app has a checkbox if you want to catch it. In some networks, they do it or you can manually do it. That is a problem that technology has. You only can solve it. Yes, sir.
Literally, app mainly runs an offline mode, right? When you say that you can't monetize it through ads at all.
Yeah, that's what usually on a house can happen. Unless you can make the internet for 5 minutes and you can cache a bunch of ads and then, but the networks also time out that. Right? So as far as I know, nobody is there. But if you really have an ad